Alrighty. Good afternoon, my compatriots. I'm just getting ready to do a little brief hour quick update. Again, holding to the fire, all this 400 years, everything. Well, my takes on what's going on. As I said a couple weeks ago, first off, just to start it all off, let's talk about the shutdown. When the shutdown first jumped off, or like that little week it had took, it was a couple weeks. It's been almost 3 weeks since I said it, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna drag out. Listen to whatever pundits you want to listen to, but it's good sense to really watch the whole situation. You know what I mean? How many of those people? I mean, I'm not sure if you guys know anybody who's actually been affected by this federal stuff, who have federal jobs, but I'm affiliated with a couple people who are less than happy with the situation. As they have said to me, if they didn't have their finances protected, then this would affect them more harmfully than it has affected some of their younger coworkers. The shutdown is gonna last until these people come to some sort of agreement about this wall. I'm telling you guys, they're already building it. Okay, they're already building the wall. All right, they'll build it underneath these people's noses and fill in the most crucial areas, and then put death traps. I'm sure, almost like a death trap in those areas where which they're like, well, I can't really protect it, so I can put this device here, and we can say that we didn't know it was there. If it kills or maims somebody. So, but let me pull up this little thing real quick about young D Treasy. See if I can't share this screen. And I'm going to get to what this all has to do with our 400-year stay here. Play.
So very simply, Michael Cohen is lying, and he's trying to get a reduced sentence for things that have nothing to do with me.
So if there was some reason to believe that the president tried to coach somebody not to testify or testify falsely, that could be obstruction of justice.
Yes, under that, under an obstruction statute.
Okay. Damn. So that quick, it's over, right? But also that quick, you see how right now they're really like, oh, what's up, Martin? I'm just getting over here, but you guys see how, like, do you really understand why this is all happening right now with the whole Michael Cohen is saying this, that, and the other? Because the feds who are investigating them are not being paid right now. So they put the pitch on this dude. We're like, yo, bro, we're going to hit you with some more charges unless you can just come out and say that he did this. You feel what I'm saying? So that way they could try to proceed forward with getting the government reopen back up, so that way they can get their paychecks. All this is an affront so that way they can try to get the government back open, but it's not going to work. The reason why it's not going to work is because, well, legally, Michael Cohen, the whole issue really was with the chick Stormy Daniels, or whatever the fuck her name is, excuse my language. And it really goes back to her, how this stuff really spiraled out of control. But if you minus her, Michael Cohen is never telling on Donald Trump. So there's a lot of people who are going to look at it objectively within the feds who aren't being paid themselves and say, well, this dude is only saying this because he implicated himself in 2 different crimes. And one of them, he's going to be acquitted. And then the other one, we're going to mitigate the charges against him. You see what I'm saying? So there's a lot of different things that have to be looked at. Now, when we talk about that, we're bordering into the world of what they call impeachment. I don't really want to talk about that. I don't feel they have enough juice to get rid of Donald Trump. From what I see, Donald Trump has enough shadow supporters to stay in office. People who say they're against him, but really they're going to go and vote for him at the polls. And these are people that I've met, you know what I'm talking about? Where like, these are older white dudes who like told me like, yeah, secretly, I voted for Trump, but I don't like the guy, but still, I wasn't going to vote for Hillary Clinton. And because they feel that voting is so important, they felt like they had to cast their ballot for somebody. So they voted for the most sensible party in their mind, which is a dude that looks more like them than not. All white dude. So I don't knock them for being like that. What I'm knocking is you have cats right now who are trying to say that the shutdown is going to end any moment, and they really don't understand the implications of the wall. See, the wall is in my mind now, as far as it's ever been, as much as I could ever see it, a part of this prophecy. If this is Babylon, there's got to be somewhere where they built walls that are big and broad that come down. Can you dig it? And the high gates burn. Like there has to be a physical location. There has to be somewhere where people are toiling in fire in vain. And so because this is the case, there has to be a logical line right on to how this is all going to play out. I know people don't want to hear it, but this is the truth. 2019, if we're going to hold it all to the fire, like I said, you know what I'm saying? You got to hold to the fire the most basic logical things that you understand. I'm not going to keep telling you guys about 1619 and then not bring up things that are happening right now. The most important thing that I could tell you that took place this week was low key. China struck back at the Canadians for arresting that Wei character. You know what I'm saying? When they arrested the little white boy, say he's going to get the death penalty or whatever, people don't really understand. They could have picked. There's probably 1,000 individuals who China knows are doing illegal activities who are foreigners. Can you dig it? But why they picked the Canadian and not an actual American? Like they picked the North American, but they didn't pick a 48 contingent state American. They picked the Canadian dude because it was the Canadians who did the dirty work for the Americans. So China wanted to send them a message. Not only are we going to come at you, but if we catch you doing something that you're not supposed to be doing here, you feel me, we'll give you death. And it's deep. So this is why people don't really understand the whole situation of what you're dealing with is going to be flights are getting canceled. Dude, these are all federal places. These are all federal installments, okay? I just read a thing not too long ago about air traffic controllers, how it is it's a must-have job in the Fed, so you have to have that function, but it's a high-stress job. Little known fact, in the Marine Corps, air traffic controllers contribute to the most suicide deaths in the Marine Corps. A lot of people don't know that. And this is outside of, dudes who have combat jobs. That's just a flat-out fact. Air traffic controllers have a highly stressful job. People think that this isn't important, but if you can't get around in the air, dog, it ain't shit happening. There's only this stuff can only hold up for so long. You understand? Until people obviously are worn out from it. We're 18 days into the new year, so nobody wants to hear that kind of talk. But if you get 3 or 4 or 5 months into this year and there's still a partial shutdown and it's affected way more than people could have ever thought, then niggas gonna be like, okay, cuz got a point. We're going on a month in about 6 days. or something like that. 4 days, 5 days, something like that. I know it was just right before Christmas. You know, it might even be a month right now already. However, what I'm saying is this. This is all part of the plan. Okay? This shutdown was planned. I got some pictures I want to show you guys, man, that they wouldn't normally show you of black Arabs in the Middle East. Maybe one or two of them you've seen, but I know that they wouldn't normally show you this because all this stuff is contingent to what they're really trying to do. See, if they keep you sequestered here, the ID Act of 2020, which is going to make it to where you have to have a passport to even get on a fucking plane, or get into certain government facilities. It's going to be law next year, by October next year. Facts. Check it out and look it up. They have all kinds of, they've been having stuff since last year about it out here in Washington. So I don't know how your state been doing it, but pretty soon people ain't going to be able to fly around like they've been able to. Everybody thinks I'm joking. People don't understand what they're doing right now. Okay. It hasn't been done before. It's never been done before, y'all. All right. They're about to make it to where it's hard to travel. Okay. All right. Now imagine this. You got a government shutdown, partial government shutdown, but it goes on for months. Some of the state agencies that depend on government funding, let's say some of the police agencies that depend on funding for non-essential things that are deemed non-essential. Okay. What happens is this right here is that you have a domino effect, right? Where the legal system that would normally be followed up on is not followed up on. I'm telling y'all, this is a fact. This is a guaranteed fact. Right now, right? Listen, y'all, this shit just happened to me this week. So a motherfucker not gonna tell me it's not gonna happen. I went to check on a firearm that got taken from me back in 2012 just to see the whereabouts of the gun, right? Do you know that they told me that I signed for the gun the day that I was arrested and in jail? Y'all, now I got to figure out how I'm going to do the whole legal action with that. This shit is unbelievable. So understand that if there was a federal agency that I could contact, right, where the people would actually do their job willingly because they're getting paid to do it, it'd be totally different. But there's no agencies to contact as to check the state agency. You guys need to really understand how the fuck this shit works. Okay? If they deem it non-essential at any time, at that point in time, it's non-essential, yo. Just like that. So there's things that are deemed essential right now, but let's say they get 2 or 3 months into this and then they're like, fuck it. We've been going for so long, we could actually make it this long without. That's how they're going to do it. So the wall is going to get built, like it or not. I don't really care what anybody has to say about it. I couldn't give 2 fucks because I know what I'm talking about. Okay? I told you 3 weeks ago this shit was going to last a minute. You had motherfuckers who was trying to say dumb shit like, oh, the shutdown ain't going to last but a week. I told y'all that it was going to last a while. Okay? So get ready for some dumb shit. Just throwing it out there. The wall. If I can't stress that enough. If they don't build that, if they don't build that wall, the Republican Party can go ahead and cancel its next. I mean, God willing, the world just keeps going, right? They can go ahead and get ready to lose their next, I don't know how many votes. It's over. It's done. It's done. It's done. The only way that the Republicans keep their votes with white people who feel threatened everywhere by people of any kind of color other than their own, right on, is by them building a false protection, right? So that way they get a false sense of security. The wall doesn't do anything, all right? But the rich white people understand that poor white people think that it's really going to keep people out. It's a basic deterrent at best. At best. But for somebody who has a little ingenuity and willpower and some know-how, they'll find their way up and over, under it. Well, however, it's not going to stop them. So they're building that. And that's just going to be for cosmetics, but it's going to be nice cosmetics. Believes that. With that said, government shutdown. How much longer do I think it lasts? I think it lasts as long as old girl Nancy Pelosi or whoever's really pulling her strings, whoever the real puppeteer for everybody is, they're going to say, okay, all right, we're going to give up this much funding for the wall. Then they're going to say, okay, well, we've already built this much of the wall. We'll build it out of this material, right? And then, which is steel, and then it'll be done at a cheaper rate, and then the steel will pretty much substantiate all other things that they don't have. I'm trying to tell you guys, man, it's filthy. I see it already. If you can't get around in the country by flying the plane, most people don't get on planes like you think. There's a lot of people who fly, but there's a lot of people who don't fly. It only affects certain people. But imagine if you needed to go somewhere all of a sudden, or you need to get into a certain type of government facility, and they're telling you that you need a passport now. What if you can't get a passport? You see what I'm saying? Do you see how this works? Do you see how they're trying to limit they're literally limiting the travel of people by ordinance? You see what I'm saying? By making it a law for you to have a passport, you pretty much eliminate certain people from air travel. Just like that. There's not going to be any more illegals flying in the air after 2020 in October. There's not going to be no more felons who can't get passports flying in the air after 2020. It's over. I'm trying to tell y'all, man, like, whatever you don't see coming is coming. It's coming. Who's going to stop them? Right. Then maybe people have a reason to cry out, huh? Then maybe they have a reason to feel bad for the situation. It hasn't got there yet, black folks. Hello, sister. How are you? I hope everybody's week was excellent. However, they can't help it. You know what I'm saying? They can't help but to be who they are. And they being not just the government, but the people that are so caught up in being distracted. You know, I understand the reality of needing to be responsible for financial obligations, this, that, and the third. I totally understand that. But there's a level of life that surpasses that. And if people get caught up on the most basic things, like everybody talking about this whole toxic masculinity thing, and it's a murderer, right on? It's a murderer to a person's morale, and it's like, man, that's not the fuck I want to hear about. You feel me? I want you to tell me about why the president, right-hand man or ex-right-hand man, turned on him and out of the middle of nowhere, where in which right now, if they did, come on. But the real but the Real ID Act is to where you have to have enhanced license. How do you get an enhanced license, sister, if you don't qualify for it? You see what I'm saying? If you're not like a driver of some sort, or a particular type of person who works in a certain kind of field, they're doing it. They're really, it's meant to keep the felons and the illegals off the planes, you know, and to keep them on the interstate. You see what I'm talking about? And then the people who are on the interstate, state patrol, in particular, they're going to have the profile of the people that they're looking for. Anyway, it's not happening to people at that rate, so they just don't see it. You know, it doesn't really matter to me. Not really. Uh, I mean, you can't really change how people think. You get what I'm saying? I know, but out here is different. See, that's what I'm saying. Each state might be following the federal guidelines, but I know out here, right? You have to take if you want to get your pass. It's called the Washington ID Act or whatever, right on 2020. Each state is calling it whatever, but I know it's the Real ID Act. But still, out here, you're not gonna go and just get a passport just because you want one. You feel what I'm saying? Like you still need all that, like, and then like it says in particular in this one advertisement that a person would need an enhanced license, right? Now, in this state, I don't know how it goes in California or anywhere else, but out here, to get an enhanced license, you normally have other certifications to get the enhanced license. So you don't just get the license. You feel what I'm saying? But maybe it's different state by state, like I'm saying. So either way, what I'm trying to project is that the people who are illegal already, they're not, if they already don't have a legitimate birth certificate, it's over. Them flying on the plane, their days for flying on the plane are over. You see what I'm saying? Somebody calling and booking their ticket, they can go ahead and scratch that. It's finite. So, and that's my point about all of this. But outside of that, there was something that had happened. I'm trying to look for the link real fast. There was some nonsense that had took place the other day, and I was really intrigued by it. We look for the headline. Right here. So, no. I'll go to that one in a moment. Crime. Give me one moment, please. This is crazy. One moment. Where is it at? There's this lady, white lady, and she had all these babies. And she's an older woman, and she had them all adopted. And they had found this little young baby face down in the tub in human waste. And I can't find the article right now, but I'm gonna let that go. And I'm gonna get to this other shit that I wanted to talk about anyway too, which is El Chapo in a second. But I'll talk about Chopsky in a minute. But what was so crazy about the situation was, I always think to myself, like, how long? I mean, what does it take for people to realize that these motherfuckers are not fit to be, stewards of children? You know what I'm saying? They're not. They're just not. Just because you have financial dividends and you have a home does not make you a good steward. You see what I'm saying? And there are other implications that go into people caring for stuff like that. But anyway, I had seen this the other day right when it had first came up. And we're not going to read the article, but I'm going to briefly show it to you real quick, and I'll just take the link and I'll copy the link and you guys can go look it up. That's what we'll do. 1 second. There we go. And the whole thing is amazing because this ex-president right here, right? If you guys don't remember this shit, man, this is crazy. You can look this shit up because I was reading into it just a few days ago before this had even happened. the crime rate in Mexico went up when this motherfucking dude, what's his name, Pineda or whatever the fuck his name is, that schmuck. Anyway, this dude, he told the people, "I'll arm you if you fight the cartel." So the people went off, and you had motherfuckers really fighting the cartel, dog. It was crazy, right? And since then, you've had like record numbers of deaths like every year, you know. Since then, last year there was like some, 20,000 plus murders. It's dangerous at the border, dog. Like, I don't think people understand how fucking dangerous the border is right now, because like those border towns are getting terrorized, Like, if you're not strapped up, if you're not ready, if you don't have that mean, like, grit look on your face, you might get tried out there. You know what I'm saying? And it don't got to be by no illegal. It might be by a gun runner. You know what I'm saying? It might be by a coyote. You feel me? The cats who bring the people up. It could be by the little drug mules. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't have to be anybody who in particular is not supposed to be here. You feel me? You have people who, for their own reasons, will do harm to you. And this dude, their little president, this motherfucker, was like, yeah, if you guys fight the cartel, right, I'll back you up. Now, understand me. If you guys go and read this shit, right, it says that he supposedly took $100 million. Now, why is that so important? It's like he paid. It was like the blood was paid for, if you really like think about it. So the cartel was like, look, bro, we got to get up in here. He's like, well, I just can't let the people lay down. He was like, well, tell them to fight back. We got way better weapons, way better training. We'll kill them anyway. We'll give you guns to give them to fight us with, right? Knowing that some of their dudes are going to die in that process. But they took that chance. And then dude took the $100 million. This isn't in the report. That's not there. You guys got to understand human interaction. Like, this is how it really goes down. And because, dude did that, you've now had a spiral out of control effect where the wall is even a legitimate discussion. I'm trying to tell you guys, man, if that had never happened, the war on the motherfucking cartels down there, right? During the Obama administration, if that had never taken off, shit wouldn't even be like it is. But it's fucked up right now, y'all. It's fucked up. It's bad. So that's how I know that as long as you have situations like that, and it goes into the wall, right? As long as those situations continue to play over and boil over, I don't know how many of y'all think that people in the U.S. and went down to Mexico and did dirt or did this or did that. Do y'all not remember about the DA, the lawyers, and all those motherfuckers that had got killed in Colorado or whatever state that was like 2 or 3 years ago, where the little Mexican mafia hitman came up here and touched them? So I don't even think people even understand, like, unless you pay attention to the headlines and keep them in your mind, none of it will add up. But it's all making sense if you look at it from a long-range perspective of these people have been doing illegal shit for a long time. You see what I'm saying? And they're just now really starting to get exposed, the whole lot of them. You just had a couple days ago or the other day, some mayor and her husband get caught, you know what I'm saying, in a marijuana operation. I'll see if I can't pull that link up, and I'll throw that in here too. Give me one moment. And she's the small town mayor. She ain't nobody. You feel me? But the fact that she could even be caught up in a situation where her character is in question, right? People have to really respect it. It's like, look, man, these are the same people. She's a low-level individual that people would entrust or give the fidelity to make decisions, you know what I'm saying, that change their life. So you have to really respect the fact that how they're acting is no different than how the people at the highest level are acting. If she's doing it, somebody who's way above her is doing shit. You feel me? And they're not doing it with marijuana. They've got, you know, in-house cocaine lab going on. You know what I'm talking about? In-house meth lab. You know, one of the biggest producers in their state type shit. You know, and these are the things, man. It's gonna be crazy stuff that happens this year. The year is just popping off. I told y'all it's gonna get crazy. You know, I'm going to report the little crazy stuff like that on my other channel as well. I got some stuff in the works for that. But as far as right here is concerned, this is all about just trying to just give it to you guys raw, man, because nobody's going to try to say to you, look, that wall has to get built in order for white Americans, lowly white people who are seeing their sons and their daughters choose to be with anybody else other than a white person, unless they have, you know, true pride bred into them to really be with their own people. They're being with anybody else other than white people. They have so much white guilt that they don't want to be with white people. Are you hearing me? Did you hear me? Did you hear me just then? They have so much white guilt that they don't want to be with white people. You feel me? So we need to stop looking at it as so much as a culture vulture, as this person has literally racked themselves with so much self-hatred, right? They have so much self-hate that they don't even want to be with their own people no more. And motherfuckers need to respect the game. But nobody respects the game. You feel me? They don't respect how it works. So when I say stuff like, look, man, they have to protect the mentality of these low-level white people. Don't worry. In a couple days, when I do the white heaven, oh, I'm going to rock them. I'm going to rock them. I got so much firepower ready for that. So much firepower. I'm going to rock them, sock them on that one. But this, for 2019, holding it to the fire, what people have to really understand and really respect is that it's a contingent effort of all the powers that be to keep all these motherfuckers in line. They don't need to keep black people in line. Black people act right regardless. Black people only act crazy when there's no food around. To be 100% truthful, to be 100,000% truthful. So when there's food around, I don't really have to worry about what black people really gonna do so long as they can eat. But you have other people who they've become dependent on what you call comfort items. You see what I'm saying? To give their existence some validity, you know, as like, you know, like I belong, you know, like it gives them a sense of purpose, you know, but those things run out of their sense of purpose for them. And then this is why they keep carrying on and doing what they're doing. So we won't see a change in any of the rhetoric. You won't. It's impossible. I just don't see it happening. You know, why would a person back down on something where their base is torn up over it, right? Their base is 50-50 over it. Right. Exactly. But you have to research this stuff, look into it, and then really hold it to the fire. But at the core of the matter, the reason why this dude Trump does not have to abandon the shutdown is because at the very core of the base, they're split 50-50. But the 50-50, the craziest part is that you have people with power who have to commingle and coexist with each other who are disagreeing. So there won't be any kind of, it's going to be stagnant for a long time, you know, unless they all sit down and Bohemian Grove butt naked it out, you know what I'm saying, with one another. Unless that goes down, I just don't see it. It doesn't compute. So when people try to say that Trump is this or Trump is that, I'm like, man, don't talk about D. Treasy like that, because I don't support him, but I fuck with him on the level that he's bringing things into play that we have to see, is this our year? Do y'all understand? Can you dig it? I need to know, am I out this bitch or not? Right on? Or was I sold another okie doke? That's the problem. That's the issue. So let me pull up these pictures that I have real quick, right? Because I wanted to show y'all these anyway, and I'm gonna cycle through them one by one. And we're just going to focus on who they are as people. Bang, 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 bang. Okay, share. There we go. Let me go ahead and blow it up just a little bit. Whoa, whoa, whoa. So as y'all can see, this is black Iraqis, right? Now, what's more important than them and what's more important than what you're seeing is that this region of the world right now, right, is what you're actually waiting on something to happen in. See, when whatever takes place where these guys are at, and this is real Esau, okay? Whatever the fuck people try to tell you, these are them, okay? These are real Elamites. If they're not directly from that seed, you know, these are the real Semites. These are the real Ishmaelite type dudes who have been living amongst each other for thousands of years. And they tell you that blacks are suppressed and left under, but only certain blacks are downtrodden in those countries. Some of these dudes are shot callers. Don't ever let them tell you different. 1 second. Next picture. Let me see if I can't pull up this next one. It's hating on me. 1 second. Boom. They're gonna do me like this, y'all. It's gonna be a long one. It's gonna be a long, stupid one. We just pull them all up real quick. This is done. I want y'all to really understand that these are the people that they don't want you to see that they're really talking about, okay? So when you hear Yemen, you hear Jordan, and you hear Iraq, and you hear Iran, right? You feel me? Sometimes what happens is we get lost on who is or who isn't. You know what I'm saying? This is a young Yemeni girl, okay? Look at her. She could easily pass for a black person here. Easily. She's Yemeni. And I will talk about how these people have to do with everything we're going through in a moment. But first, I just want you to relate to them and look at them and understand that these are people who are in a position right now so dire, right? So crucial that I don't think anyone really understands what these people are going through. You know, it's hard being black right now in America for sure. I've never been in the airstrike. I'm not going to tell you no lie. If you guys have, then sure, that's fine. I've never been in one. You feel me? I've never needed a medical aid and then village warlords come and kill people who take the aid, but then take the aid themselves. I've never been in a situation like that. So I can't totally relate or understand. But I can be empathetic to their plight. This young lady, you know what I mean? Just look at her and just really understand. These are the people, and I'm going to cycle just through the rest of them, just so that way you guys can just see. These are the groups of people that are left out. You understand? That are not talked about. So when they tell you, oh, you know, this group of people, this race of people, look, man, all that sounds great. All that sounds fair and dandy. But the people that you're forgetting about sometimes look more like people that you know than people that you don't know. You feel me? So you need to understand that when you say, well, I don't care about them. Okay, well, that's fine that you don't care about all of those people. But some of these people, you got to realize, are in a similar situation that you're in, only in a place that's not developed, that has no this, that has no that, and people want to use the excuse, well, their ancestors showed us. Not all these dudes are traitor-ass Ishmaelites and Edomites. See what I'm saying? Some of these guys are old school. What are some of the other names of the Semitic groups that are around? Ninevites, people like that. They're out of here. One moment. Next picture. I'm almost done. Don't worry. Got about 4 or 5 more to go. But you have to relate. It's about relating. See? So because they're black in Yemen, nobody gives a fuck about them. Right on? Nobody at all. Nobody cares about these people at all, dog. And I'm trying to tell you, they always don't talk about Palestine. Yeah, I understand there's Afro-Palestinians, but Palestine get a lot of talk. I'm trying to tell you, half the country is facing risk of famine. Can you dig it? So when you talk about Yemen, Yemen's situation is so different, so unique. And I've always talked about Yemen on the low. That's me though. There's been a lot of things I've talked about, by and part, through and through, and may not have given it a whole lot of shine until, I felt like, okay, now is the time. Now it's appropriate. And this is more than an appropriate time to talk about people who look like you, similar to you, more than one of these Aboriginal people of this land ever did. Look at them. Look at these people. And that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about, is that as opposed to relating to somebody who you can actually relate to, you'd rather not relate to them. Not worried about people who can't get past no wall, y'all. Next one. We're down to the last few, don't worry. Last of the Mohicans. Yeah. Yeah. Full of black faces. These are all migrants. Can you dig it? Coming from all kinds of places. Not just Yemen, not just Palestine, not just Sudan. You see what I'm saying? Coming from all over. Black faces, though, as you can see. Brown faces. Of course, looking hair for the most part. And you can see on this man's face right here that we just really need help. And I can't believe you got a camera looking at us knowing that we need help. That's how they do it, y'all. No respect. None. They don't have to respect you. They don't have to respect me. They don't have to respect nothing. So they're not going to. You guys, let me just pull up this last one that I really wanted to show y'all. The OG. Right here. Damn, come on. Yeah. Look at this young man with his people. These are 2 women, obviously, because they cover their entire faces up. Their modesty shows so much, and so the one lady, it looks as if she's still communicating with the other lady, and she's so embarrassed almost to have this camera around, right? To have to put on her hijab, right? This elderly lady, she's probably his first wife, and and he's just sitting here. And look at him, man. But look where they live. Look what they've been relegated to. You see? This is how people are forced to live around the world as blacks. It's not as if you're going to go somewhere and just become a respected person. It's not easy being oppressed. Look at this man's face before I turn it off. This is the face of a man who seems defeated, done all that he can in his life, and still yet not enough. That's why I talk to people. How you doing, sister? That's why I talk to people, though. Because sometimes they overlook the importance of what it is to be in the shoes of another individual. And I think it's easy for us to really like sidestep all that, and say, well, that's not my life. Sure, that's fine. That's my life's not your life. So what does that mean? You see what I'm saying? And when people say things like that, they have to realize what they're implying. You know, there is no wisdom in being ignorant. None. Not even a sliver. There is no bliss in being dead. So I won't let my ignorance be the reason why I get killed. I need to know. Brothers and sisters, you need to know. We all need to know. It's important that if 2019 is a year where Black people all around the world have something to look forward to, then those people too have something to look forward to. They'll admit from their own tongues who the chosen people are because they know. They know that we all can't be chosen, but when they see that those who are truly blessed are blessed, then they will admit by the tongue of their mouth. See, this is what I'm talking about, is that you have to realize that when the Most High God is talking about, I shall bring the nations right on with you, he's talking about specific people. So when you want to talk about 1619, if it's really the year for you to really be worried about, you should be worried about the other people who are going to be coming with you and not the ones that you've been acclimated with to believe are nations. Nothing more than cave-dwelling subterranean monkeys who found their way up top. As I would tell any of them, missing proteins on the most basic levels to even manufacture thoughts that I can conceive. They are not human, but I will call them man because it has been impressed upon us for so long to, what's the word? Deprogram myself from what has been programmed into me will take just as long. I wanted to throw something at everybody and ask everybody this real quick, because I got about another 20 minutes before I'm gonna really just pack it in. These weekly updates ain't gonna be that long. That first one I wanted to, go all in, but I like this. This is what I enjoy. Being able to just talk real quick, get in and get out. I enjoy expounds, doing those. I got a few of those recorded that I haven't uploaded, but those are spicy meatballs, so I'm I'm attempting to rein myself in, my own self, and still produce what it is that I know is needed. You can't be afraid of people. You can't be afraid of what is to come. But most of all, you cannot fear what the Most High has planned for you. You can only embrace it. If you embrace every moment as it is your last moment on earth, and I'm being serious right now, brothers and sisters, young ones, if you embrace every moment as if it is your last moment, it will be so much more plentiful, so much more fulfilling. I did a recording earlier today talking about being kind to people. The world lacks kindness, but it lacks kind words more than it lacks the kindness. Practicing kind words is something that I don't have an issue with. Giving kind words, I have an even lesser issue with. But I am just as talented, maybe too talented, in being unkind at times and being so sharp with words that I don't need to be as sharp as I'm being. So there's no changing oneself, but you can make adjustments to yourself, you know, and become a better person in your own right that you think you should be. This year, you should do the best that you can do, like you've done all the other years, that you've always done the best that you can do. But if you can really tap into that every moment is a precious moment type mentality and really operate like that and say, okay, well, this is it. This is my moment. This is my time. There is no time better than now. I cannot stress to you enough the action of inaction. The judge who I told you guys was going to tell me about whether or not he ruled on my birthday actually lied to me, and he ruled that Friday, and I didn't get the mail until yesterday, last night. I could be sad about that, or I could say, you know what? This is the situation. I could keep chasing the situation, or I could say, you know what? Let them have what they think that they have. This is their heaven. And I have to remind myself of that. You see what I'm saying? I'm reining myself back in and on all levels, because it's like I have to. This is their heaven, dog. This is their shit. Don't fight them on their shit, about their shit. It's theirs. Let them have it. And then when they really need you, do nothing for them. You don't have to. That's your choice as a person. That's the power of choice and the ability and reason. I appreciate every single one of you to the highest level. I do. You won't find any person, I don't give a fuck how many subs they have, how many people donate to them. You will never find a person more appreciative of you and who you are, legitimately, than I, because I appreciate people like that. I am that kind of person. I appreciate the people who dislike me and their hatred, because I can give the hatred back. It's nothing. So I can appreciate that they even had the ability to show me that they have no love for me. At least they let you know where you stand. I appreciate these things about people. You should appreciate what they do for you. Your enemy tells you so much more than he doesn't say, than she doesn't say. Listen to what your enemy says. They reveal so much about themselves. The small things they say in passing, listen to them. 2019, hold it to the fire. Hold all 400 years to the fire. And if you wanted to go just back from 1619 and go on and move on up to the suffering, that's what you do. But I would say to hold this year to the fire in a different way that you've never held another year. Don't look for the big touchdown pass. Nope, look for the run up the middle. Okay? Don't look for the home run. Look for 4 good base hits. Hell, if you can get walked, walk 4 people and score a run. Don't do anything you don't have to do. Let them do it for you. I'm trying to give y'all the game that I've been operating with for a long. This is the only reason why I really believe that I'm still alive, other than the Most High being kind to me. Because there's been times in my life where I've done certain things that have worked they're very, very effective. People will, once again, if you listen to someone, they will tell you everything about them. Let me tell you guys something real quick that happened to me the other night. I was going to go buy a beer, and this elderly black woman from Arkansas, apparently back in 1974, got pregnant by a white man. This is all at 7-Eleven. This all happened in a very short period of time. Got pregnant by a white man, so she decided to move up to Washington State. Because she didn't have to tell me, I already understand. Washington State is pretty easy on biracial couples, especially when it's a white man and a black woman, especially when it's a white man and a black woman. But they love when other men have, in their minds, dominated. Sorry, black women, have dominated the black woman. That's what they feel. So they accept it and they love it. And she told me that she moved up here. Her daughter got married to some NFL player, and they have kids and they're happily ever after or whatever. But it's one of those things where she is living in her own decisions. Right on. I didn't have to say anything to her. She told me everything. And I seen it. And when I walked outside and I seen this old looking white guy in this van packed full of junk, and I was like, yep, I understand exactly where her life has been. And that fast, I was able to pick up so much. Her daughter obviously doesn't deal with her. Her daughter probably married a black man. Right on. Her daughter probably doesn't think very much of her. Even though her mother's black, her father's white. Because for the condition that the woman was in, for, let's say, if I had a daughter and she married an NFL guy, right, I would assume that my daughter would take better care of me in my older age than not. But that's just my opinion, because when you marry someone, supposedly you marry their family. So these are just things that cross my mind. I'm not here to make you feel bad. I'm here to make you think. If you don't think, you can't move forward. There is no progress to be made. There are too many people out here who would love to tell you that so long as you get your money right and you vote a certain way, we can overturn all this. I need y'all to understand something. They passed law. They made laws. Listen, they made laws that made it illegal for black people to vote, regardless of their ability to read and write, regardless of their land ownership, regardless of their upright and moral standing in society. It didn't matter. Okay? So if you're going to tell me that just because these white people are dying off, but you say at the same time that there are other groups that they boister as white people who are not white people, well, at some point you have to tell yourself that all of them are working against you. So you're not going to you can't outvote them all. So let's say you beat the white man. Are you going to beat the Hispanics too? They got you beat by numbers. Are you going to beat the Asians? They got you beat with money. Arabs got you beat with money, and they're all in your community. Their daughters lay up with your sons. Your sons, and your sons give their daughters to these guys. If you haven't given your daughter to one of these chumps, this is how it goes. I've seen too much of it. See, people don't respect my experience. I didn't grow up in a super duper black community experience. I just grew up in a part of town that was known for being rough at the time. But I grew up in what you would call a diverse community, very diverse. So I understand diversity better than any of these fucking jokers that talk about it. That's just a fact. So when I say things like you should be with your own people, This is coming from a person who grew up thinking that it was okay for anybody to be with anybody. These are things that you learn to appreciate. Nobody can make you accept that. You learn to accept it. If you cannot accept that this year is a year that should be put in high, it should be, you should be objective against everything. Everything that you look at should be, is this a part of some sort of way to undermine a prophecy? Is this a prophecy being fulfilled? These men have no belief in nothing. How can they lead you? Did you hear me? If these men have no belief in nothing, how can they lead you? There are no faithless leaders. It's fake. It's fake, y'all. They believe in something. They believe in something and not just themselves. People, if you don't hold this year to the fire, you're going to be a victim of some bullshit. I love my people dearly, and I would hate for some dumb shit to happen to any one of you just by not being objective enough. And I'm being serious. I'm not worried about my legal situation. I get irritated about it sometimes because I understand that they're just trying to be as racist as they can without trying to act like they're racist. It's the most ridiculous thing ever, but this is what they get to do. This is their world, and I'm just living in it. And if black people will accept that they don't have a lot here, don't have any, there's nothing in it for you. Nothing. No thing is in it for you. And that's the problem. Nobody wants to hear that. You don't want to hear that. There's nothing in it for us. We can't win. Can't win. We won't win. It's their rules. How are you going to beat them with their rules? You guys, I'm gonna end on this note talking about 2019. We're gonna talk about China real quick. The Americans have a relationship with the Chinese that is so deep that some of the business partners with China, right, are so in bed with the Americans that they've had to tell the Chinese, like, look, we're too in deep with these guys. And this is why this trade war has really dragged on the way that it has. Because you have allies or potentially useful allies or instruments to a nation like China, who people believe is on the rise, but it's not. You have them who are trying to clean up after the messes of all the greed that they all practice. They all practice this level of greed, you see. And it is so unhealthy. But they all understand it because they're all that greedy. See, it's deep. If you're not greedy like them, you don't play in that realm because you can't function. So regular people like us don't function in those realms. But we can understand what greed feels like. Everyone has felt a level of greed in their life. So there's no one who's going to tell me that with resources that over a period of time, and it may be a short period of time, will gain a seizable amount of financial dividends or tradable commodities that we can use to gain financial dividends, or something that we can just use to increase our influence with the people as a whole. Oh, it's on and popping. But when you have these groups that have acted in this greed, where now I have to cover your ass because I'm on your side, but what you did 10 years ago behind the scenes is now coming back to bite you in the ass. Now I have to hold the gate for everybody. And I can only hold the gate for so long because they're beating on it. And this is what people need to get about the entire politics thing, is that it's bigger than just what they say out of their mouths. It's what goes on behind closed doors And it's the tiny nuances that you pick up, the tiny little ones. I told you guys, the Chinese snatched up that Canadian dude only because of what the Canadians had done to their programmer for all their ZTE stuff. That had never happened. That would have never happened with the Canadian. I put my top, middle, bottom dollar on that for a fact. My people, all the groups that have the so-called power, watch their hands as they play their hands. Understand what may have made that move to happen, and understand how that may have everlasting effects for who knows how long to come, or it could have immediate drastic impacts, and who knows when they'll kick in. My brothers, my sisters, little ones alike, I totally appreciate you for your time. This year will be the special year that we hold to the fire. I love doing this. I love talking about this already. This is just two of them in a couple weeks, and I'm feeling good. We'll get another one around the same time next week ish, unless something just jumps off that I just got to talk about. But I want the days to come together so I can talk about a couple things and then, do as I do. You guys know how I get down. So, look, this is our year. It's not make or break, but this is our year. This is our year to see how wrong or how right these people are. As the year goes on, we shall see. Don't become afraid. Listen, if y'all start to see stuff that's like, oh crap, this might be it, don't get afraid. Don't get afraid. Can't stress it to you enough. Do the best that you can to live right. If there's something that you know that you should do to become right with the Most High, and it's within your power to do it, you should do that. If there's nothing that you can do to become right with the Most High, you should help everybody else who can become right with the Most High. He operates in mercy. It's 2:07 Pacific Standard Time. Got 3 more minutes, and then I'm gonna just call it done for sure. So whatever I'm talking about, I'll just end it 2 minutes. If black men and black women could only read the Bible and see that the Bible says that they're going to not only have problems with one another, but have problems with their children, they would see that the issues that we've had for all these years are issues that were brought upon us by a force that none can resist. Then and only then, maybe then, they would accept that where we are at is a place to humble us and to make us less haughty. But until the same individuals who are given dividend now, even to this day, blessed by the Most High, even to this day, because He has so much mercy, if they would only see and take off of their pride and take off of their haughtiness, they would see that they are more than likely these people. But they have no initiative to do so. Black man, black woman, black child, I thank you so very much for your time. Your time is precious and it is important to me. And I want you to enjoy yourself and to enjoy your time. Continue to pray for me as I pray for you. Live your life with both of your eyes open. Unless you don't have both of your eyes, you don't have either of them. But you have both eyes. Live it with both eyes open, and make sure that you do the best you can to look after your people. I thank you guys for today, your time. You guys have a blessed weekend, and I'll see you Sunday.